Look, I'm begging you to start thinking about a stock market crash using simple actions that you can apply today. Look, if the market drops 50% like it did between May 2008 and March of 2009, your investments don't just take a hit. A crash that size can take your financial independence goals right down with it. So I'm begging you to think about that now while we still have time to do something about it. And it's not because I think a crash is coming tomorrow. I have no idea when the next one will hit. And this is not about fear. Instead, it's about preparation. Look, if you're 35 or younger, a market crash doesn't really impact you as much than someone who is a year away from retirement, obviously. But if you're closer to achieving financial independence and either want to retire early or retire at the standard age, the first part that I'm begging you to consider, prepare for the sequence of returns risk. And if you're new here, I'm not just some guy that talks about it here on YouTube. I went from being in debt to being a millionaire through fixing my financial life. And now I help other people do the exact same thing. And even though I'm not predicting the next stock market crash, everyone keeps saying that the AI boom crash is coming. Now I have a question for you. Do you actually believe that? Do you think that's just a headline, or is that actually a concern? Do you think that we're in for a market crash of 30% or more in the next 1 or 2 years? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. But if this does become a major crash, and let's say we go back to 2008 and we take two people who both retire on $1 million. The first person, they retire in 2006, for example. The second person retires in 2008, right as the market starts to go down. Now, after year one, person one has 1.1 million, and we're going to assume they're fully invested in the S&P 500 with dividends reinvested. Person two, after 1 year, has only $604,800. That 1 million starting point for both of them had two entirely different experiences in the first year. So the lesson on this first part of sequence of returns is that it isn't about that you're going to go broke. It's that you'll spend your first several years of retirement with less than half the cushion that you may have expected, making every spending decision a little bit of stress, right? Even though the 30-year math eventually works out. Calculating your portfolio on potential sequence of returns risk is a healthy thing to model as you prepare to live off of your portfolio. But here's the part that matters the most. A real way to simulate your account? Well, this is the second piece I'm begging you to consider. And of course, we can model the sequence of returns, but what if we actually literally simulate it? Right over here, this is my FIRE calculator sheet, and I use it purely for my own fun, but now I decided to upload it to Google Sheets for you, and I'll link it in the description below. So let's say we retire early at the age of 50. So we plug in 50 right there, and we build up to a portfolio of 2.4 million. I know that might be high for some people or low for some people. This is just this example. You can plug in your own numbers. But as you see here on 2.4 million, you can withdraw $96,000 in your first year, and you can see the amount will keep on increasing as we go down here, because we give ourselves an inflation raise, and we're assuming a 3% continued inflation yearly. And this is what I like to simulate. Instead of just assuming the 10% market rate, which is typical, we want to actually screw up the account with a typical bear market. Or if you want, you could go even more extreme and go to like a 50% market crash. But let's say a 33% drop in the first year. So what we would do here in this example, if you retire at 50, at the age of 51, we're going to plug this in at 51. There you go. This is what we need to think about. It's not about living in fear. It's about preparation. That's what I'm begging you to do. If we can visualize this, my friend, well, it helps us understand, okay, this could happen. And if it does, here's how we're going to prepare for it. And if it never happens, that's a great thing. That is the flex that we are after. So let's take a closer look. So at age 50, you pull out 96,000, everything's fine. But then you come up on that 33% crash. See what happens? That 2.4 million, it grows to 2.5, right? But because of the crash, by the end of that second year, you're now 51. Now your portfolio is only at 1.6. And that would magnitude, no matter what, even if you started with 1 million or 500,000, it doesn't matter. The point is simulating that growth becomes actually a negative growth because the year ended on a very bad note. This could also happen, let's say, a couple years later at the age of 58. And that's something that we also need to consider. So if we have 2 years of just a very terrible 33% down year, everything else will just continue to average out to the 10%. Well, This is something to consider because you can see here, we start running out of money at the age of 74. Now, what could we do to fix this? Well, that's where you can start saying, okay, what would I do in this case? And we'll get to that in just a minute of how you can circumvent some of these crashes. But I urge you, go ahead and check this out for yourself. Plug in your own numbers. If you think 2.4 million is too high, change it. If you think 4% is too low, change it. If you think you want to do a 50% crash with 5% inflation with a market growth rate of 3%, you can plug in whatever you'd like. But let's ground the odds in actual numbers here. According to the Hartford Funds and Ned Davis Research that I found and looked into, the S&P 500 has actually been through 27 bear markets since the year 1928. So on average, that means that one is hitting roughly 3.5 years. And that typical decline is around 35%. So a little bit higher than the 33 that we just stress tested, but the typical bear market will last about 9 to 10 months before the recovery begins. So remember, every 3.5 years on average. So if you're planning on a 30-year long retirement or longer, you're not going to avoid a bear market. You're guaranteed to live through a few of them. So the only real question then is whether one lands on your first decade of living off of that portfolio and whether your plan assumed that it might and is prepared. So what is the preparation for a crash like that or just a bad year of 20% or 30% or more? It's the moat that we must build. And by the way, I'm not here to sell you anything. There's no course buried here. I'm giving this all to you for free. If you like it, subscribe and like the video. Let's say you're retired, or you're within 5 years of retirement coming up. Doesn't matter how old you are. What we could do is focus on a 3-bucket strategy. This helps us minimize the crash or the sequence of returns risk, one way or the other. So how it works is, let's say we go back to our example. We take that first year of $96,000 that we know we're going to live off of, and we're okay with that. That covers our expenses. We're happy. We're going to pull that out of the market early and leave it in a high yield savings account for the entire year ahead. This is bucket number 1. It's immediate cash need, since we know we're going to be using that over our year of, in this example, 50 years old. Then we may even take out maybe the next 2 to 10 years and put that extra money into short-term bonds or CDs or even dividend stocks. And the idea is to provide a safe and steady return that beat inflation, but yet don't have the effects of a market downfall. Now, this all depends on your risk tolerance, and that's only something that you can decide. Now, some may want to adjust maybe just 1 to 3 years of the portfolio. They may not want to say, I'm not going to pull out 10 years of expenses. No, I'm just going to do 1 or 3 years and be done with it. But others might say, well, I'm not okay with the market crashing at any point, whether it does or doesn't. I want to be super prepared. So I'm going to do the standard 1 to 2 years in cash and then 3 to 10 years in bonds, dividends, CDs, whatever. But then from year 11 on of your expenses, we're going to leave all of that money invested. That's the 3rd bucket. And if the market does crash, okay, fine. We'll deal with it because we have that moat built up. So while everybody else that might stay invested and get stressed out to see that their portfolio drops significantly, well, we're okay because we know we have our other 2 buckets funding us till the market recovers. Now, there are other strategies beyond just the 3 buckets. Guardrails, adjustable hybrid approach that I'm personally using. If you would like a dedicated video on building a moat, whether you're in retirement or you're achieving early retirement with financial independence, all you got to do, comment down below with Moat. And if enough people want that, we'll make that video happen. But here is the truth that you need to see. A very quick 6 tips that you can bookmark today. First, know your sequence risk window. It's roughly the 5 years before you stop working and the 5 years after. If you are inside that window right now, or you're approaching it, everything I just showed you isn't abstract. Go pull up your own number right now. Run it through the crash scenario. Take a look at it and see how this could potentially play out for you. Number 2, build a cash and short-term bond buffer sized to 1 to 3 years of expenses depending on your risk portfolio. And we're not talking about your whole portfolio here. Keep some of that invested. That's important. But just the piece that you would draw from during a downturn instead of selling stocks at the bottom. In my example, that's the difference between pulling $96,000 out of a portfolio that just dropped in half or pulling it from a cash that you set aside specifically so you never have to touch that investment as it's getting a little volatile. 3, Use the guardrails approach instead of a fixed number. Some planners like to call this the Guyton-Klinger approach. The idea, very simple. If your portfolio has a great year, you allow yourself a little bit of a smaller raise in spending. If it has a bad year, especially early on, you cut your spending a little bit instead of pulling out a fixed dollar amount no matter what. That flexibility alone can dramatically reduce the odds of the outcome my spreadsheet was looking at earlier. 4. If you're planning to use the rule of 55, remember that it does not protect you from any type of market volatility. It only removes the tax penalty. The market can still drop 33% or whatever the year you start pulling from that account. So everything I said today applies just as much, maybe more, if you're accessing funds before 59.5. A video on the rule of 55, if you want to look at that, is linked in the description below. Number 5, don't try to predict when the market is going to crash. Everybody likes to, and then what does the market do? It keeps going up. So waiting or selling too early or freaking out will mess you up. Missing just the 10 best days in the market over the last 20 years would have cut your long-term returns dramatically, according to the Hartford Funds. Some of the best days in the market in history happen during or right after the worst ones. Trying to dodge the bullet usually means dodging the recovery as well. And number 6, set your rebalancing and spending rules in writing before you need them. The people who panic sell in an actual crash are almost always the people who never decided in advance what they'd actually do if a crash happened in the first place. Share this video with somebody who would find value in it, but your financial adventure is going to continue by watching these videos over here next. Keep building your Sharpe money, and I'll see you on the next video.